her scream, and she ran downstairs because she saw someone. That's what I'm pretty sure she said. Someone's here, and she screamed and just ran downstairs. And I called for her name, but I jumped up and locked my door because I was so scared. And I heard someone in the bathroom, and I heard her crying, and I heard some guy say that you're going to be okay, I'm going to help you. And I kept calling her name, but she wasn't answering. And then I opened the door for a second, and I saw this guy, and he was not insanely tall, but he was wearing all black and like this mask that was just covering his forehead and his mouth.
In the early hours of November 13th, 2022, someone inside 1122 King Road heard a noise and saw a man in the hallway. By late morning, when her housemates still weren't answering, she and some friends finally called 911. When police finally arrived on the scene, they walked through that door and found 4 college students dead, all viciously stabbed. From then on, the town of Moscow, Idaho would never be the same. Weeks passed, and there were still no suspects and no answers. Then investigators went back through the cameras and found a car speeding away from the scene at 4:20 in the morning. Had they just found their killer? Moscow, Idaho sits in a region called the Palouse, a landscape of rolling wheat and lentil fields in the north of the state, close to the Washington border. It is a town of around 25,000 people, and for most of the year, its identity is the University of Idaho, home to roughly 11,000 students who call themselves vandals. It is the kind of place where students walk home from the bars at night, where doors are left unlocked, and where the crime log is filled with noise complaints and parking disputes. Before November 2022, Moscow had not recorded a murder since 2015. 8 miles to the west, across the state line in Pullman, Washington, sits a second, larger university, Washington State. The 2 college towns are twinned by a short highway, and students move between them constantly. 2 campuses, 2 communities, 1 shared stretch of countryside. Just next to the University of Idaho campus is a steep little pocket of student housing around King Road. The houses there are big, worn, and cheap enough to split between groups of friends. Fraternity houses sit a short walk away. On a Saturday night, this neighborhood is alive. Music, headlights, people cutting between gardens on their way home. The house at 1122 King Road was exactly that kind of house. 5 young women rented it for the 2022 academic year, and it functioned the way student houses do, with friends coming and going at all hours, and house parties being hosted there. Nobody thought of it as a place where anyone needed to be afraid. One of the residents of 1122 King Road was 21-year-old Madison May Mogen, known to everyone as Maddie. She was in her final year at the University of Idaho, majoring in marketing. She was born on May 25, 2001, and grew up in northern Idaho, the only child of Ben Mogen and Karen Laramie, and was raised with her stepfather Scott. Her father Ben described her as the great thing that had happened in his life, the person who gave him a reason to keep going. At university, Maddie was a member of the Pi Beta Phi sorority and was majoring in marketing. She had worked for several years as a server at the Mad Greek, a small family restaurant in downtown Moscow, where she was so trusted that she ran the restaurant's social media pages. Regulars knew her and colleagues adored her. Those who knew her described her as gentle, warm, and sunny. She was the friend who remembered small things, the one who softened a room. For around a year, she had been dating Jake Schreiger, a fellow student she had first met as a friend 2 years earlier, over a first date at the Breakfast Club diner in Moscow. From childhood, Maddie came as part of a pair. Kaylee Jade Goncalves was also 21, born June 8, 2001. Kaylee grew up in nearby Rathdrum, and she and Maddie had been best friends since they were little girls. They met at school, and from roughly the 6th grade onwards, they were inseparable. They did everything together. They went to dances together, holidayed with each other's families, and eventually chose the same university. She was majoring in general studies in the College of Letters, Arts and Social Sciences at the University of Idaho. Kaylee had pledged Alpha Phi, a different house than Maddie's Pi Beta Phi, but the same corner of campus life, and they moved in together at the same house on King Road. Kaylee was the third of 5 children in a big, loud, fiercely loyal family, raised by her parents Steve and Christy. Kaylee also had a golden doodle called Murphy, who went almost everywhere with her. Where Maddie was soft-spoken, Kaylee was what her family called the ultimate middle child, their self-appointed defender and protector, tough and fair, funny, stubborn, the one who didn't hold back on love, on fights, or on life. Her family loves to tell stories about her determination. She was a general studies major who had front-loaded her credits so aggressively that she was due to graduate a semester early in December 2022. By November 2022, Kaylee had actually moved most of her things out of 1122 King Road, as she already had a job lined up with a firm in Austin, Texas. The next housemate was Xana Alexia Kernodle. She was 20 years old, a junior majoring in marketing, and by every account, one of those people who made a room lighter simply by being in it. She was born on July 5th, 2002, in Avondale, Arizona, and later moved with her family to Post Falls in northern Idaho, where she played volleyball, soccer, and track at Post Falls High School. Her parents were Jeffrey and Cara, and she was extremely close to her older sister Jasmine and her brother Elijah. Jasmine was a senior studying at Washington State University in Pullman and lived just 15 minutes from her younger sister. Like Maddie, Xana was a member of Pi Beta Phi, and like Maddie, she worked at the Mad Greek downtown. The two of them shared shifts, shared friends, and eventually shared a house. Friends described her as strong-willed and funny, hard-working, someone who did not let people down. In the summer of 2022, she had begun dating a fun, easygoing athlete named Ethan Chapin, and by that autumn, they were rarely apart. 20-year-old Ethan James Chapin did not live at 1122 King Road, but he visited often and occasionally spent the night. Ethan came from Conway, Washington, a tiny community in the Skagit Valley, the tulip farming country, north of Seattle. He was one of triplets. He, his brother Hunter, and their sister Maisie were born within minutes of each other, and in 2022, all 3 of them were at the University of Idaho at the same time. Ethan and Hunter had joined the same fraternity, Sigma Chi. He was 6'4", a former high school basketball player, majoring in recreation, sport, and tourism management, and by the account of basically everyone who ever met him, the least serious person in any room, in the best possible way. His parents, Jim and Stacy, described a boy who never stopped smiling, who worked summers at a flower farm, and whose great gift was making other people feel good. The house at 1122 King Road was a house built into the side of a hill, and because of that slope, it worked differently from a normal 3-story home. It had entrances on more than one level, and from the road, it was easy to misjudge which floor you were looking at. On the bottom floor was another housemate, Bethany Funk's bedroom. 21-year-old Bethany was one of the 5 women on the lease. The middle floor was the heart of the house. It held the kitchen and living area and 2 bedrooms. One belonged to Xana and the other to the final housemate, Dylan Mortensen, who was 19. At the back of this floor was a sliding glass door leading out towards the hillside. The top floor held 2 more bedrooms, Maddie's and Kaylee's, and a shared bathroom. The 2 best friends had rooms across from each other at the top of the house. It was a house filled with laughter and fun, just college students enjoying their time and living an entirely ordinary college life. The house had a couple of minor run-ins with the police that autumn, however. In mid-August 2022, officers were called to 1122 King Road following a noise complaint. Body camera footage captured Kaylee greeting the officers and confirming that she lived there, while they issued her a verbal warning, which she accepted with good grace. One of the officers explained that they had no problem with the party itself, right up until the neighbors started complaining. It was clearly a pleasant and understanding interaction, just a bunch of college kids having a good time.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Is this your place?
Yeah.
Perfect. You know why we're here?
And I assume noise.
Noise, yeah.
Yeah.
Big speaker right there.
Yeah.
Nothing against having a party. Once neighbors start calling in, then we have an issue.
Fair.
You go to school?
Yeah.
Okay. What year?
Senior.
Senior. Okay. So I'll tell you the same thing I told them. You probably know the drill, right?
Actually, no.
Oh, okay. So usually, at least for me, I'll give you a verbal warning.
Okay.
Once I have neighbors calling in, your music's too loud. You're disturbing the peace.
Yeah.
Nothing against having parties. Nothing against having people over who are overage to drink. But again, once we start disturbing the neighbors, then we've got an issue.
Yeah.
Noise ticket is up to 300.
Yeah, somewhere around 300, 400.
Okay, it's a pretty expensive ticket. I don't want to give that to you. That being said, this is your place, so I'm going to hold you responsible. Because it is your place, you're also responsible for everybody here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to grab your info.
Yeah.
And if I do have to come back here, a $300 some ticket's coming your way.
Okay.
And it only gets more expensive from there. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fair. Absolutely.
Is this 1122 here?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. I'd much rather you spend that $300 on beer or something fun than
Yeah.
a noise
yeah.
ticket, right?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. That being said, warnings. Don't do it again.
Yep.
I'd hate to come back in a few hours and then have to issue that. So,
Yeah.
any questions for me?
No.
All right. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Then a few weeks later, on the evening of September 1st, 2022, at 8:45 p.m., Moscow police came to 1122 King Road over another noise complaint, but none of the housemates were home. Police returned just under 4 hours later at around 12:30 a.m. on September 2nd, and this time, Xana answered the door.
Do you live here?
Yes.
Okay, did Megan talk to you earlier?
No.
Okay, does Megan live here?
Megan, I do not have a Megan that lives
Megan Mogen?
there. Madden Mogen, yeah.
Madison Mogen? Yeah.
Madison Mogen? Okay, she does live here?
Sorry, she is at the club. She's 21. I'm just going to bed. I have a couple friends over, but this is my ID.
Have you talked to Maddie tonight?
Yes, I have. She's at the corner club.
Okay. Did she tell you anything about anything that happened earlier or anything like that?
Honestly, not really. I've just been here the past hour.
Okay.
Just trying to go to bed.
Can I grab your ID from me? If you
Yeah,
will run
I'm
her?
not 21.
Okay.
My roommates are 21. I just came to go to bed.
We're not here to talk about the alcohol stuff, okay?
Okay, yeah.
But this is the second noise complaint we've had here tonight within 2 hours.
I'm sorry
Okay.
about that.
So this time it was the blonde gal and the guy on the back porch playing music, okay? So
I sincerely apologize about that.
Okay.
I'm just going to bed.
Okay. So, just so you understand, you could be getting a misdemeanor citation for this, which means you have to go in front of a judge and explain why you couldn't keep the people in your house quiet. Okay? We've already talked to Maddie once and told her the same thing. Okay? The only reason she's not getting a ticket is because she's not standing here in front of me. But I'm telling you right now, if we have to come back, you're getting a ticket.
Okay, so
you will have to go see a judge.
I'm fine right now.
You're not getting a ticket right now.
I'm just trying to go to bed right now. I mean, I understand you guys. You're coming here. I'm just going to bed.
Okay. Well, understand that you're responsible for the residents.
Okay.
So whoever else is here, if they have a safe way to get home, you need to kick them out. Or tell them to come inside and be quiet.
Okay.
Because the houses that are on this hill all the way around here, we can hear you from clear down the road when we were coming up here. We can hear the music. And that's,
I'm so sorry.
we're past the point of having polite conversations, okay? Because
I'm so
neighbors are being
sorry.
kept up, okay?
I'm sorry. It's just like,
Is the blonde gal and the guy up there, are they roommates too?
I'm sorry, what?
The blonde gal and the guy that's upstairs, are they roommates too?
None of my roommates are home. I'm
Oh, okay.
the only one home. These are all my friends.
Okay.
So do you understand 100%
I understand.
what's going to
I'm just
happen?
going to tell everyone, get the sorry.
Okay, fine.
Or figure it out.
And I'm not saying that you got to tell everybody they have to leave, but I'm telling you, any outside music, any loud yelling needs to be done.
Okay.
Because we're not, next time you're getting a ticket.
Okay.
Okay? And if you get a misdemeanor citation, the university is not going to take kindly to it.
Yeah.
So not only do you have to go see a judge,
And I've never had to deal with this ever.
and we don't want to start now. I don't ever remember having to come here, so I understand you guys are having to get together, but people have a way of taking the invitation and using it as an excuse to get out of control and be loud.
Advantage. Yes,
Exactly.
I understand.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I just hope for your sake that your friends don't put you in a position where you get the citation and you have to go to court to defend yourself from your friend's behavior. Make sense?
Okay. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
You want to get a good phone number for her?
Yep.
And just remember, the Dean of Students office probably will be contacting you about this as well.
She chatted with the officers, apologizing for the noise and agreeing to turn the music down. The officers said goodnight and walked back to their car. A few months later, Kaylee had partly packed up her room, ready for her move to Texas, so on the nights she stayed over, she often simply shared with Maddie, the way they had done since they were kids, and that's exactly what she did on the night of November 12th, 2022. Saturday, the 12th of November, 2022, was a normal, happy, unremarkable day. That afternoon, the Idaho Vandals had played their final home game of the season at the Kibbe Dome, a Heroes Weekend and Senior Day fixture against UC Davis that drew a good chunk of the town downtown afterwards. Campus-wide, it was a normal, busy college Saturday. Xana's father Jeff was in town that weekend, visiting her older sister Jasmine for Washington State's Dad's Weekend, and the night before, the two of them had spoken by phone about Xana coming along to the Washington State University football game, but she decided to stay in Moscow instead. That evening, the 6 young people connected to 1122 King Road split off into their separate, ordinary Saturday night plans. Ethan's evening actually started somewhere else first. His triplet sister, Maisie, didn't have a date for her sorority's formal that night, so she asked Ethan, and their brother Hunter came along too. The 3 of them left for the Kappa Alpha Theta formal at around 9 p.m. and had a great night. Afterwards, Maisie decided to go to bed, but Ethan and Hunter carried on to the Sigma Chi fraternity house, where Ethan met up with Xana. Ethan and Xana went to a party at the Sigma Chi fraternity house on campus, a few minutes' walk away, surrounded by Ethan's fraternity brothers, including his triplet brother Hunter. Maddie and Kaylee went downtown to the Corner Club, a beloved, no-frills sports bar that has served generations of Vandals. They were there from roughly 10 p.m. until around 1:30 in the morning. At around 1:40 a.m., Maddie and Kaylee appeared on a live stream. A local food truck, the Grub Truck, parked downtown on Saturday nights and streamed continuously on Twitch. The footage showed the 2 friends waiting for pasta, chatting to people around them, laughing, swaying a little, entirely at ease.
Hello!
Hi!
Welcome back.
Thanks. I think I would like the
Okay.
Yeah, they both do. I feel a map.
But if I have like a free grub truck on my app.
Oh, yep. So what you want to do is we'll actually do this.
Show you your work from the Duke. Still light, motherfucker.
There you
Cool.
go.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Maybe I
Here.
didn't have a free one. I don't know.
It's right here.
And then what was the map you
Don't
wanted?
forget to
I'm sorry.
remove the
The
spoon.
The
carbonara.
carbonara Mac of the week.
Here, I'll grab it for you.
Excellent. And then click see rewards.
Enjoy.
And it looks like you do not quite have enough points yet.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
then you
$10
set
for you.
Perfect. Cool. Thank you.
4078. Thank you very much.
At about 1:45 a.m., Ethan and Xana got back to King Road from Sigma Chi. At about 1:56 a.m., Maddie and Kaylee were dropped home by someone they knew. By around 2 a.m., everyone was home. Dylan and Bethany were also home in their own rooms. Kaylee's room sat empty. She'd already packed most of it up for her move to Texas. So, as they so often did, she and Maddie went to bed together in Maddie's room. There was one more flurry of ordinary late-night activity. Between 2:26 a.m. and 2:52 a.m., Kaylee's and Maddie's phones made a string of calls, 10 in total, to Kaylee's former long-term boyfriend, Jack, but he was asleep so the calls went unanswered. And with that, the house went quiet. 3 floors of young people drifting off to sleep, and one order of late-night food still on its way. From approximately 3:29 a.m., a white saloon car appeared on cameras near the King Road neighborhood. Not once, but repeatedly. It passed the area of the house 3 times between 3:29 a.m. and 3:58 a.m., and on its 4th approach, at around 4:04 a.m., it did not simply drive by. The car disappeared from camera coverage in the immediate area of the house. 3 minutes later, at 4:07 a.m., it reappeared on camera one more time, completing a 3-point turn in the King Road cul-de-sac. before heading back towards the house. Then it vanished from view again, consistent with parking somewhere just behind or beside it, and stayed that way for the next 13 minutes. A few minutes earlier, at 3:59 a.m., a DoorDash driver arrived with an order Xana had placed, food from a Jack in the Box across the state line in Pullman. The driver left the order and drove off. Xana was awake with her food. Records showed her phone using TikTok at around 4:12 a.m. Inside the house, on the middle floor, Dylan Mortensen woke up. What follows is the account Dylan gave investigators. She was woken by what she thought was Kaylee playing with her dog on the floor above. Then she heard a voice she took to be Kaylee's, saying something like, "There's someone here." It's been suggested that it could equally have been Xana, awake with her food one wall away. Dylan opened her bedroom door and looked out. Then she heard crying. She thought it was coming from somewhere near Xana's room, maybe the bathroom, though she'd later admit she wasn't certain and that she'd had a lot to drink that night. She opened her door again. This time, she heard a voice she didn't recognize, a male voice saying something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm gonna help you." In her very first account to police at the scene, she said the voice used Kaylee's name. Later, she dropped that detail, unsure herself which of her roommates she'd actually heard. At around 4:17 a.m., a security camera recorded distorted sounds, what was later described as whimpering, then a loud thud. A dog began barking over and over. Dylan opened her door a third time, and this time there was a figure in the hallway, a man dressed in black, a mask covering his nose and mouth, walking towards her. She would remember 3 things. He was around 5'10" or taller, he was not muscular, but had an athletic build, and he had bushy eyebrows. He did not attack her. He did not speak to her. As she stood frozen in shock, he simply walked past her, towards the sliding glass door at the back of the kitchen, and then he was gone. At 4:19 a.m., Dylan began trying to reach the others, but she got no answer from Maddie, no answer from Kaylee, no answer from Xana. At 4:20 a.m., cameras picked up the white car again, leaving the neighborhood. This time it was not cruising. It left at a high rate of speed. At around 4:22 a.m., with her housemates silent, Dylan started texting Bethany. She wrote, "No one is answering. I'm really confused right now." Bethany replied, "Yeah dude, what the fuck?" Xana was wearing all black. Dylan said, "I'm freaking out right now." "No, it's like a ski mask almost." Bethany simply said, "Shut the fuck up." Dylan explained further what she had seen, saying, like he had something over his head and mouth, "I'm not kidding, I am so freaked out." Bethany replied, "So am I, come to my room, run, down here." At around 4:26 a.m., Dylan left her room and sprinted down to Bethany's room on the bottom floor. Along the way, she glimpsed Xana on her bedroom floor, and in the fog of the moment, took her to be drunk and passed out. The two of them locked themselves in Bethany's room and kept trying their friends. At 4:32 a.m., a message went up to the 3rd floor, "Please answer." But nothing came back. Inside 1122 King Road, nothing moved. Dylan and Bethany stayed where they were, locked in the bottom floor bedroom, phones in their hands. Outside, the sky slowly lightened into a cold, grey Sunday morning, and the house stayed completely silent. Sunday usually was a sleep-in day in every student house in the student area. For a while, the house sat silent. Then, at 10:23 a.m., Dylan tried the third floor again, texting Kaylee and Maddie, "Are you up?" But still, there was no reply. More texts, then calls, to Maddie, to Kaylee, to Xana. Phone after phone rang out into empty rooms, 1 and 2 floors above them. So they did what frightened young people do. They called for backup. Friends were summoned to the house, among them Hunter Johnson and Elli friends of the group who lived moments away. Dylan had called Emily saying, "Something weird happened last night. I don't really know if I was dreaming or not, but I'm really scared. Can you come check out the house?" Once the friends arrived, at 11:55 a.m., the call to 911 began, placed from Bethany's phone.
911 location of your emergency.
Hi, something is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what.
What is the address of the emergency?
1122.
Okay. And is that a house or an apartment?
It's a house.
Can you repeat the address to make sure that I have it right?
I'll talk to you guys. We live at the light, so we're next to them.
I need someone to repeat the address for verification.
The address, 1122 King Road.
After confirming the address, the dispatcher asked them to explain exactly what had happened.
And tell me exactly what's going on.
One of the roommates has passed out, and she was drunk last night, and she's not waking up.
Okay.
Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. Yeah. Hi, this is.
And are you with the patient? Okay, I need someone to keep the phone, stop passing it around.
Can I just tell you what happened pretty much?
What is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now?
I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m.
Okay, I need to know what's going on right now if someone is passed out. Can you find that out?
Yeah, I'll come. Come on, we gotta go check. But we have to.
They said one of the roommates was passed out, that she'd been drinking the night before and wasn't waking up. They said they'd go inside to check on her.
Is she passed out? She's passed out. What's wrong? She's not waking up.
Okay, one moment. I'm getting help started that way.
Okay, thank you.
It was while that call was still running that Hunter went up to the second floor himself and walked into Xana's room, and here he found her there with Ethan. In that moment, he told everyone to get out of the house.
Okay, and how old is she?
She's 20.
20, you said?
Yes, 20. Here's one.
Okay.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, I need someone to stop passing the phone around because I've talked to 4 different people.
Okay, sorry, they just gave me the phone.
Is she breathing?
Hello?
Is she breathing?
No.
Okay.
Bethany, the line needs you to talk to them, okay? I can't talk to them, they need you to talk to them.
Okay. Hello.
Okay. I've already sent the ambulance and law enforcement. Stay on the line. If there is a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
Say that again? There's a police here right now.
Okay. If there is a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
We don't have one. I think yes. Do you have a defibrillator? Yes, we have one.
Are you talking to the officer?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to let you go since he's there with you and can help you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Okay.
Moscow police officers arrived within minutes, walked up to that sliding glass door, and stepped into what remains one of the worst crime scenes in the city's history. Moscow police officers arrived at 1122 King Road within minutes of the 11:55 a.m. call, which had been logged as a report of an unconscious person. Officers moved through the house quickly, floor by floor, and within minutes had confirmed what they were dealing with: 4 homicides. They first found Xana and Ethan on the middle floor.
Where at? Up here? Up here.
We got it all from them that someone, they're looking normal, and I just came in checking in there, and this is what I just found. And I checked this user's breathing, and she's, and I didn't check her yet, but I'm pretty sure.
13. Okay, get back.
I don't know if they're still in here or not. I grabbed the knife. They're like
1370. Okay, stay back there, please. Slow down. Just come here. There's 2. Looks like fatalities.
They then went upstairs and found Maddie and Kaylee.
Clear here. Going up. Please start it.
We're on 3rd floor, going up. We got another. Let's go police department.
Dude. We're clear. Let me just secure the outside first. So.
Go to the front door.
There's the back entry. I was going to start taping it all off.
Brian's taping the outside off.
Okay. Nobody's allowed to leave for now. Okay. Just stay here for me, please.
They came back outside and crime scene tape went up around the property. Outside, they found a small shaken crowd. Dylan and Bethany, Hunter and Emily, standing in the cold November morning, still in what they'd slept in. Neighbors were beginning to emerge from the houses nearby. Dylan stood, shaking, trying to get the story out to the officers on scene.
Did they tell you anything? They were just about when we were in the main room.
This is one of the...
Pretty much they were in the main room. I heard them dancing and laughing. Kaylee went upstairs and she screamed because someone was in the room and she ran downstairs. And I kept calling her name and she wouldn't answer. And then I saw the guy. I actually locked the door and then I ran downstairs, but we don't know what's going on.
Can you come here with me, please?
Body camera footage showed the officers trying to calm the group of terrified young people enough to understand what they were dealing with. Dylan told the officer what she could. She said that she had seen someone up on the 3rd floor and heard a voice saying someone was there, and that none of the other housemates had replied.
How much have you seen in that?
No, I don't really know. I just saw my friend when I called because we were so scared. We're like, can you please come help us? And that's all I saw. And told us not to go in. That man right there. That helped show you around.
They did go in there.
Yeah, and that's when he told us he needed to call the cops.
Okay. What do you remember seeing? What started?
I remember I was in my room and I was trying to go to bed and I heard Kaylee, who ex-girlfriend who also has a dog Murphy. All I heard was I heard her go upstairs. Like, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep now because she's going upstairs.
And you heard who go upstairs?
Kaylee and the dog Murphy.
And upstairs to the very top?
Yeah, that's where her room is. And then all of a sudden I heard her walking up, I heard her scream, and she ran downstairs because she saw someone. That's what I'm pretty sure she said. Someone's here, and she screamed and just ran downstairs. And I called for her name, but I jumped up and locked my door because I was so scared. And then I heard someone in the bathroom, and I heard her crying, and I heard some guy say that you're going to be okay, I'm going to help you. And I kept calling her name, but she wasn't answering. And then I opened the door for a second, and I saw this guy, and he was not insanely tall, but he was wearing all black and like this mask that was just covering his forehead and his mouth. And then I locked the door, and I called, and I didn't know what to do.
This was at 4
4
this
a.m.
morning?
Yes.
Okay.
And so then I just ran down.
You left here?
Yeah, I left my room down to room. She's that one with the white blinds at the very bottom. I ran down there and we talked, and we just locked the door. We didn't think anything of it. We're like, nothing happens in Moscow, so we just like tried to go to bed. And then we woke up, and it was weird because none of our roommates were up, and we called all of them. They were not waking up, and so me and like, this is weird. So I called and to come over, and then that's when all this happened.
All right, describe the guy that you saw.
I don't think he was a little bit taller than me, and I couldn't really see much of him, but I'm almost positive he was wearing a full black outfit, and he had this mask that was just over his forehead and over his mouth, and he didn't say anything to me, like, at all. I just shut the door and locked it, because I didn't know what to do, and I think he went out, like, the side door, the sliding door in the kitchen that goes out to the backyard.
Okay.
And then I didn't know anything else, so I called, and I was like, I just need to come downstairs and find you because I don't know where anyone else is. And I called Maddie, I called Xana, I called Kaylee, no one would answer.
Okay. Let's go back. I just want to make sure we're getting everything. So you're sure at about 4 this morning?
Yes, it was 4:10.
You first noticed a guy.
Well, I first noticed Kaylee go upstairs and scream and run downstairs.
So 4 this morning, Kaylee went upstairs.
Yeah.
To the way top.
Yes, to her room with Murphy the dog.
Okay.
And then
you heard Kaylee scream?
I heard her scream and run as fast as she could downstairs, and she said someone's here.
She ran downstairs?
Yes, I could hear it. You can hear everything. I'm not sure I heard her run downstairs really fast. And then I heard Murphy barking a lot.
Okay.
And then I heard her going to I think it was the bathroom, and I remember her sobbing, and I just remember hearing this guy's voice that I didn't recognize saying, "You're gonna be okay, I'm gonna help you," but it wasn't like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it wasn't in like a nice way, it was like a weird way, like a weird tone.
You're gonna be okay. I'm gonna help you.
Yeah.
And you didn't hear anything from Kaylee anymore at
No,
that point?
after that I didn't hear anything. So then I kept calling for her name. I called on my phone, I called Xana, Maddie, and Kaylee, and none of them answered. So then I opened up the door to look, and that's when I saw the guy pass by. He looked at me, but he didn't come towards me or say anything, which was really confusing to me. I don't understand that. And I'm pretty sure he went out the side door. And then I called and said she thought maybe there was a fire or like a firework. We didn't know. She heard this loud noise and there was a light, I guess.
Did you hear like a pop, like a bang?
I don't know. Did you hear it bang?
It's what she heard.
Okay.
That's what she heard.
Okay, never mind. You sit there. I didn't hear that. I don't think I ever heard a bang. I didn't think anything about fire or firework.
Or a gunshot.
I told her I don't think I heard anything of that, but I also was kind of in and out of it because I was so scared and I was really tired. And that's when I called and I told her, I need to come to your room because she was the only one that was answering me. So I just ran down there, and for a second I stopped and I saw Xana passed out, and I thought maybe she was just like sleeping or something. I didn't think anything because I was so out of it. And I went into the room and we just fell asleep. And then we woke up this morning and no one was waking up at all. Like no one was answering, which was really weird because all of us wake up around like 9 or 10. And then I called to come check, and he came here first. And I told him what happened, and then he looked in the room and he said they needed to get out and call the cops.
The guy that you saw, and it was dark, right? Or were there lights on in the house?
I think there were lights on in the house, I believe. Okay. I don't really know what he looked like because he had a mask, but he wasn't like super tall.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'10". I think it was maybe my height an inch or two higher or lower. I can't really remember.
So about 6 foot.
I think so. Around there.
Okay. How was he built? Fat, skinny, stocky?
More like skinny, but like basketball player kind of skinny. Like not too skinny, but like almost fit skinny in a way. That's what I think. I don't know for sure.
And then the voice? he said when he said those words, you didn't recognize that voice before.
I didn't recognize him or his voice. I mean, I also couldn't see him, but I didn't recognize that voice at all. It didn't even cross my mind if that could be.
Did you guys have a party last night too? Or?
Not tonight, but there was a... And we had like a formal thing beforehand. That was 2 days ago.
Okay. Is there anything that popped out about that event that was concerning?
No. I mean, I went to because Ethan, he is with my Xana, and who are dating, and Xana went there. I was there for a little bit, and then I went to my friend's house down the street, and then I came back home with my friend. Everything was fine. Nothing weird at all. Nothing suspicious until 4 a.m.
Okay.
After getting Dylan's initial statement, the officer then took Bethany, the remaining housemate, to the side and asked her the same questions.
So you were here last night. What time frame were you here through now? Were you here the whole time?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. What time did you get here last night?
Can I check?
Yeah. And while you do that, I'll turn off my lights here. I'll be right back. Alright, so what time were you here last night?
About like 1:24 or something in the morning.
Today?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys watching Vampire Diaries out in this the second level?
Yeah.
Okay, and then for how long?
I don't know. And then Maddie and Kaylee came home from the club. And then we all hung out in Kaylee's room for a little.
So Maddie and Kaylee were at the club?
Yeah.
You know how long they were there? Probably till closing at least?
I don't know. They went to drug truck afterwards.
Okay. And then they came home at about what time?
Like 2.
So they did get home at 2?
Yes.
How do you know that?
I just have a picture of Kaylee's room with Murphy.
Okay. Then what happened after that?
And then me and Maddie took out Murphy, and then...
Murphy's the dog?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I went inside to go to bed, and she was still taking him out. And then I was in my bed, like, about to go to sleep, and Maddie just said that she lost Murphy. Like, she was, like, and was wondering if he was with me, and I just said no. And then I went to bed.
And what time do you think you fell asleep?
Maybe 2:30.
Okay. What time did you wake up at all between 2 and...
I heard something, like, loud, and Murphy, like, bark. Like, usually, like, he barks at things. And then I thought I saw, like, a firecracker, so I thought someone maybe was just drunk and, like, put a firecracker in the house. But I wasn't even really sure because I was kind of still asleep, so I wasn't sure if it was, like, real.
Yeah, did you ever, like, pick up your phone to see what time that was, or...
Okay. Oh, maybe I might have called and asked her what was happening, because sometimes we could have been, so I'll call her and be like, oh, what was happening? She's just Ethan.
Okay.
I tried to call Maddie and Ethan and Xana and all them at, like, 4:20.
So you called...
I tried to call all of them.
Maddie?
Answering, but
at what time?
4:30 and 4:22.
Okay.
And then Ethan at 4:22. And then Kaylee at 4:31.
So no answer, and then did you go to sleep after that?
Yeah, I just kind of fell asleep again. Okay. I was like half awake.
Okay, and then what, throughout your day, you got up at what time today?
I like woke up because my jaw was feeling really bad. I took some Advil at like 6 or 7, and then I just went back to bed. So I figured no one would be up anyways. And then I didn't wake up until we called you guys again.
Okay. Remember seeing anybody in there that
I
went
was just
wrong?
downstairs the whole time with my door locked. So that's why I always think of it. So I'm scared. I didn't really hear anything either. I thought they were just being like loud and making kids.
It's pretty typical. Okay. Is anybody having any issues with any boys?
He lives in Boise.
Okay. So he wouldn't be up here right now. And then I was talking to you about the formal stuff, right?
No, that was
her. Okay, so you guys had a formal...
Some people over for formal yesterday.
No issues? Okay, everybody got along? Alright.
With the housemates now questioned, they had to thoroughly scour the crime scene and gather as much information as they could. There was no doubt from the moment officers stepped inside about what they were looking at. There had been no break-in, no forced entry, no broken window, no damaged lock. Whoever came into the house that night had walked in through the sliding glass doors. Outside, in the snow by the same door, officers found footprints leading away from the house. A man's, by the size of them, somewhere around a size 13. Kaylee and Maddie were found together in Maddie's bed under a blood-soaked pink blanket. Neither of them, nor Ethan, showed any blood on the soles of their feet. They had not gotten up. They were killed in their beds. Investigators have since pieced together a working theory of what likely happened and in what order. The belief is that the perpetrator went straight up to the 3rd floor first, where Kaylee and Maddie were killed together, within moments of each other. Xana, on the 2nd floor, had just collected her food delivery and was still in the kitchen. Investigators believe that the perpetrator was already on their way back out of the house when the two of them crossed paths. Xana ran back to her own room. The perpetrator followed her in and found Ethan there, asleep. He was killed in his sleep. Then the perpetrator turned back to Xana and continued his attack on her, killing her last. On Maddie's bed beside them, officers found a leather knife sheath, empty, snapped shut. Autopsies unsealed nearly a year later would put numbers and detail to what officers were looking at that morning. Maddie was stabbed 28 times, wounds to her scalp, face, neck, chest and arms, including injuries to her lung and liver. Ethan sustained the fewest wounds of the 4, across his scalp, face, neck, chest and limbs. It also noted he had few defensive wounds, consistent with being attacked in his sleep and never getting the chance to fight back. Kaylee was different again. She was stabbed 38 times, but her injuries went further than that. A fractured nose, a knocked out tooth, bruising across her lower face, and asphyxial injury. The report notes an unidentified object had been placed across her mouth. Xana was different from all of them. Blood on the bottoms of her bare feet showed she had been awake and moving. The evidence suggests she encountered him somewhere near the top of the stairs or the kitchen and ran back toward her own room, where he followed her. Of her 67 wounds, the medical examiner would later describe most as defensive, sustained across her hands and arms as she tried to protect herself. Murphy, the dog living in the house, wasn't only Kaylee's. She and her ex-boyfriend, Jack, had adopted him together the year before, and even after they broke up, the two of them had kept sharing him. He was also in the house that night. Officers found him unharmed in Kaylee's room. He was taken to animal services and released back to Jack.
Well, at this hour, the crime scene remains very active. This is the most active I've seen in the last few days. Right behind me, we have the Idaho State Police forensics team inside the house. And just within the last hour, I'm not sure if you can see from this angle, but we do want to give some privacy. One of the top floor windows, the blinds have now been open. We can see from a different angle some of the forensics team coming in and out, some wearing plastic white suits, taking photos. Earlier in the day, I did see some flashes, what appeared to come from a camera from inside the home. They're spending all day here collecting evidence and reassessing the home here. Now, earlier today, this afternoon, I did notice the back sliding door to the house was opened at one point today. Now, we could see red markings stuck to the frame of the door. Idaho State Police spokesperson Aaron Snell told me this afternoon it was believed that the potential suspect came through the sliding glass door. But again, there appeared to be no signs of forced entry. Now, he says, again, that forensic team is reassessing the house, looking for any potential additional evidence. In the meantime, he gave me an update on efforts to recreate a timeline of events and how the public will be a huge help in this investigation.
That same day, Dylan sat down with investigators, giving them the account of what she had seen. A male voice she didn't recognize. A masked figure walking past her in the hallway, close enough to describe, at first in general terms, his height, his build, his all-black clothing. It was 4 days later, in a follow-up interview on the 17th of November, that Dylan added a further detail: bushy eyebrows, visible even above the mask.
Maddie and Kaylee came home from the club, and then we all went to bed.
What time do you think you got home?
I think I got home around 12:30 to 1.
Okay.
In between there.
And then Maddie and who else came from the club?
Kaylee. I think they came home like 1:32-ish.
Okay. And at that point, nothing...
Nothing weird at all.
Okay.
Then everyone's asleep. At 4 a.m., I look at my phone and I can hear Kaylee and Murphy dancing, because I can tell it's her voice and that it's Murphy because he's barking. And then I hear her go upstairs because you can hear everything. And I heard her say, "There's someone here," and I thought she ran downstairs. And then I jumped up and locked my door because I didn't know what else to do.
So, you hear Kaylee upstairs, she's dancing, playing with the dog, normal kind of thing, probably.
Yeah.
And then she says, "There's someone here?"
Yeah, when she goes, I can hear her go upstairs. And then I think she's in her room and she says that someone's here, and I can tell she's scared and she runs downstairs.
Where do you think she ran?
I don't know if she made it past the stairs.
Okay.
Or if it was in the living room.
Okay. But you heard her on the stairs.
Yeah, I heard her running super fast down the stairs.
Okay.
And then I didn't open the door. I just called her name, and I called Xana, Kaylee, and Mogen on my phone.
Were these three friends?
Yeah, we're all roommates.
Okay. Who was sharing the room with Kaylee?
Kaylee and Mogen are both upstairs. They don't share rooms.
They have their own rooms?
Yeah, we all have our own rooms.
Okay. So these two are up on the third.
Yeah.
Where's Xana?
That's my floor.
Your floor.
She's closest to the bathroom on my floor.
By the bathroom. Okay. So John and Kaylee aren't an issue.
No, they're not at all.
What about for Xana or Maddie? Are there any guys that are an issue? Any girls that are an issue?
No, Maddie has a boyfriend, Boise, super nice.
Okay.
Xana is dating Ethan, who was in the room with her. They're really nice too.
So anybody that would want to hurt Ethan or that's jealous of Ethan?
No.
Nothing like that?
I've never heard anything.
Any cars that were in the area that you can think of that wouldn't have been normal?
No, I wasn't really looking at that.
Okay. And you did see anybody come downstairs? Did you hear anything else?
No, I don't even know how they got in. We're usually pretty good about locking doors, and we've never had problems before. It was just really random.
Okay. So between that time, obviously, you're not hearing anything. You had something to drink, so obviously you're going to sleep a little bit deeper, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you hear her. She says what she says. You hear her hitting the stairs. You open the door, cry out to her.
Yes.
And then you close the door because you're scared.
Yes.
Right? What happens at that point?
I opened the door again, and I heard what I thought was Kaylee crying in the bathroom, and I heard this man's voice say, "It's okay, I'm going to help you," but it wasn't in a nice way. It was just weird, and it was a voice I've never heard before.
Okay.
And then I called out to her, and there was no crying after that. I don't really know what happened after that.
So when you opened the door, you thought you heard Kaylee crying in the bathroom?
Yeah,
okay.
But it could have been Xana, but I thought it was Kate at the time. And then I opened the door again, and the guy is right there. And he's maybe my height, a few inches taller, not skinny, athletic built. He has all black. He's wearing this mask that covers just his forehead and here, and it goes around. He was white. He saw me and I saw him, and he just left. And he was holding, it looked like it was this and this. It was black, and I didn't think that it was a gun, but now I'm thinking that it probably was. But I was just in and out of it because I was so tired.
You say this.
It was cylinder like this, and then it went straight out and then in. So I don't... Maybe.
Almost like a arrow, or...
Yeah, kind of. But
okay.
It was weird. I couldn't really... I called it a mini vacuum. I don't really know what it was.
Okay. Then you say you're about your height. How tall are you?
I'm 5'10", so he's probably around 6 foot.
So he's going to be average height.
Yeah.
Any of the girls at all in the house get any kind of freak weirdness going on the last couple weeks that they talked about?
It's been all normal. Nothing weird at all.
No weird calls, no texts?
No, I mean, nothing really weird happens in Moscow usually.
So you opened your door. Where was he at?
In between my door and the kitchen.
Okay.
And I saw him go out the door, I believe.
Out the kitchen door?
Yeah, and I just remember saying, like, no, and I shut the door and locked it as fast as I could.
He didn't say anything to you?
I mean, I saw his eyes, and he saw me, but he didn't walk towards me and didn't see anything.
Okay.
Which I found really weird.
But didn't recognize eyes. Definitely a white guy?
Yeah, definitely a white guy.
Okay. Any smells, anything like that that would be weird?
Mm-mm.
After the interview had finished, they came back into the room to push a little further on the stalking question. Dylan told them about a silhouette that Kaylee said she'd seen watching her while she took the dog out one night. She also told them about the door. About a week before the murders, they'd come home to find it wide open with nobody there.
Did you have, or in the recent history, have anybody that you thought might have been stalking you or that was just acting weird?
No, but, I mean, talking, remember about a month ago, I think that one of our police officers, that Kaylee was outside taking Murphy out and she saw a shadow.
Yep, okay.
And then when Kaylee was at Winco, Xana was in the car, she noticed this guy was following her. She, got what she was getting, put it in the car, and she could see in her mirror that the guy was behind her in the car.
Okay.
So obviously he was trying to follow her. And then that was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And then about a week ago, our door is broken, but me, Maddie, and Ben came home, the door is wide open. And obviously, yes, the door is broken, but that could also be something else as well.
With the front door?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever find the back slider open or anything? Is that usually locked? What's the condition of
I
that?
mean, we're pretty good at locking it. I don't think we locked it last night.
And it sounds like the code's fairly well known to the front door by people.
I mean, only people that, know us. Random people would not know, but,
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Because Hunt said he knew it.
Yeah, he does.
Obviously knew it because it sounded like she was going to move in with you guys, possibly. Doesn't sound like he knew it. Mm-mm. Okay. Did Kaylee ever say anything or report that weirdness to anybody else other than you guys?
No, because, I mean, you can't, there's, no proof, you know?
Right.
I can't really do anything about it, and people are just weird sometimes. We didn't, obviously we were scared a little bit. We didn't think much about it after that, because there's nothing really weird after that.
As well as Dylan, investigators also sat down with Bethany that same day at 1:48 p.m. for a 28-minute interview. She told him what she remembered, waking to a sound she initially took for a firework, hearing Kaylee's dog barking, and assuming, in the fog of being woken in the middle of the night, that someone was just making food downstairs. She had no idea at that point that anything was wrong until Dylan reached her.
So we're going to kind of go back and try and get a little bit of the timeline, okay? So what did you guys do last night? More specifically, if you were by yourself and not with a group?
Ethan was in the house, so was Xana.
So you're with...
One of them is my roommates, and one of them is her boyfriend.
Okay. So you were with Ethan?
And Xana.
And prior to that, were you guys just at your house?
Mm-hmm.
You can see you left from your house?
Ethan was that formal, because he went with his sister, because she didn't have a date. And then we were just hanging out at our house. And then he came over, and then we all walked over together.
Were you guys all pretty much together, or just kind of mingling throughout the house most of the night?
We were all pretty much together, and then Maddie left to go to the club with Kaylee. And then I was with Ethan and Xana most of the night, but then one of my friends came, and then I left by myself and went back to my house. We're sitting on the couch watching Vampire Diaries. No one else was home yet. Maddie and Kaylee came home from the club.
What did you do after that, after Maddie and Kaylee got home?
We all hung out in Kaylee's room for a little. And then talked, and then Maddie and I took Murphy out to pee, the dog. And then I said I was going to go to bed because I was tired. And she said she was going to go to bed too. And then I went to my room. I was going to sleep. And she came and knocked and asked if I had Murphy. And I said no. And then I went to bed. And then I woke up, but I was like half asleep, and I thought I saw like a firework or something, like it just sparkled like under my door. And I thought I heard like something kind of fall. And then Murphy barked, but I thought people were just making like food, like, and Ethan was here or something and knocked something over, because he's usually loud in the kitchen upstairs.
Okay. So what do you mean by you heard a firework?
It sounded like a little firework, and then there was like a spark. I went by my, like, I'm on the bottom floor.
Okay.
So it kind of looked like it came down there, but I don't know.
Hear the firework, kind of see a spark underneath the door. Murphy barks. What'd you hear after that?
Pretty much nothing.
Nothing.
That's it.
Okay. And you thought maybe someone was just in the kitchen at that point?
Yeah, just like someone accidentally fell into the table or something.
Okay.
And she was like with Murphy.
Do you know about what time that might have been? Do you have any idea?
4 or something. I tried to call at like 4:20ish around that time, and no one was answering. I thought they just went to bed or something.
Okay. And what happened after that?
And called me, and she said she thinks she saw someone. And I didn't know, like, really what to think of it, because sometimes we think we hear things a lot in the house, but it's usually just Ethan walking around. But she came, I told her to come to my room, and she could sleep with me, and we could lock the door, and just stay in there just in case if there was anything, and that's all I know. I just fell back asleep.
And did she say anything to you when she got into the room?
She said she thought she saw a man, but I didn't know what to think of it. I was like still half asleep, and I was like, I didn't know what to, I don't know.
Okay.
It didn't sound like I didn't hear screams, I didn't hear anything. I don't really know.
Okay.
And at around 2:37 p.m. that same afternoon, officers sat down with Jack, Kaylee's ex-boyfriend, the same man whose phone had rung and rung the night before while he slept through it. He told them he'd been out with his roommates, had seen Kaylee and Maddie briefly at the club, and was already asleep by the time the calls started coming in.
Just so you understand kind of what's going on, this is kind of how these things go. We pull everybody in that has any degree of affiliation, okay? So don't think that you're in trouble. We're trying to collect as much of this information as we can to try to get a clear picture on what's going on and figure out where to start looking, okay?
Okay.
So, you got your address. So, starting yesterday, midday, wherever you want to start. Did you go to the football game?
No, I was working.
What time is your shift end?
It's from like 2 to 10. I got out of there probably
10 p.m., I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what did you do after you got off shift?
I went home. I dropped off some food at my friend who's working at the corner club. And then I went home and met up with my friends, and then we went to the corner club as a group.
What, anything kind of talking through the rest of your evening there? You guys just hang out, or?
Yeah, we hung out there, and then I actually did run into Kaylee at the corner club. Say hi to her, talk to her for probably a minute or so. And then eventually, I don't know if she left before or after me, but I left. I came back home, pretty much just went to bed, and then I woke up and I saw a bunch of commotion down the street, and I walked out there just to see what was going on, and I kind of heard some things, but I later looked on my phone and found like 6 missed calls from Kaylee and 3 from Maddie as well. And I don't, like, Maddie, I've known her forever, but she wouldn't just call me unless they needed something, so that was weird to me.
Okay. You said the last one was like 0247, you said something like that?
257.
Do you have any idea who would do something like this?
I have no idea.
Okay.
But, Kaylee has called me and stuff, like, if she's walking home and she thinks someone, like, is watching her or follow her, she'll just call me and just to have someone on the phone.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my theory of what the missed calls are from, but I still don't know what happened at all.
How often did she do that?
A couple times a year.
Okay.
It's just like,
not
she
super
was
common.
Feeling sketched out, yeah.
Okay. Did she ever mention that she thought someone specifically was following her, or was it more like, I just getting creeped out?
Yeah, just don't get creeped out.
Has there been any kind of weird conflicts with people in the Greek system? Anybody outside the Greek system? I mean, anything you can think of that might point us in the direction of who we'd be looking for. Any rivalries, any boyfriend-girlfriend drama that's gotten out of hand, anything like that?
No, not really. Everything's been pretty normal.
Okay. Good.
I was going to mention, I'm sure this is something that they could tell you too, but there's a lot of, like, people just coming in and out of their house all the time. Just because, like, they're well-liked people, and I think more people knew the code to their door than they should have.
By the time either family heard anything official, Dylan and Bethany had already given police their first accounts of the night. Word reached the wider public even faster than it reached the families themselves. At 1:04 p.m. that Sunday, the University of Idaho sent its first alert. Vandal alert. Moscow Police Department is investigating a homicide on King Road near campus. Suspect is not known at this time. Stay away from the area and shelter in place. Ben Mogen, Maddie's father, was at the movies that Sunday. Her mother, Karen, called. He texted back to say he'd call her in a minute. Then straight after, his own mother called too. He would later say those two things never happened back to back, and that the coincidence alone told him something was wrong before either of them had said a word. In Pullman, Jeff Kernodle and his daughter Jasmine started getting calls from Xana's friends saying something bad had happened at the house. They drove straight to King Road, found it already cordoned off with police tape, told an officer who they were, and were taken directly to the Moscow police station, where they were told that 4 people had died and that Xana was one of them. Devastatingly, Jeff had actually been just 7 miles away that night, watching the college football game at Washington State University with his daughter Jasmine. At around 11:30 the night before, he had nearly driven over to stay at Xana's because she'd told him she wasn't feeling well. He decided against it, only because he'd been drinking, and Xana had made him promise the week before not to drink and drive. Kaylee's family's morning unfolded slower. Word reached them second-hand through friends who had already seen police tape on video long before anyone official called. For hours they simply sat, not knowing anything concrete, asking each other what was happening. A cousin called, asking whether they'd heard anything about Kaylee, and 5 hours later, a deputy finally arrived at their door at around 4 that afternoon to let them know the tragic news. Within days, the Moscow Police Department, a force of around 36 officers that had not handled a homicide in 7 years, was joined by the Idaho State Police and the FBI. At its height, close to 130 investigators, agents and analysts were working the case. A tip line was opened. It would eventually take nearly 20,000 tips. From the very start, investigators called the killings a targeted attack.
We believe this is a targeted attack. We believe that with the information that we have from the investigation, and we can't reveal that, right? I know everybody wants to know that information, but we can't reveal that right now. But I maintain that we still believe this was a targeted attack.
They conceded, 3 days in, that they could not promise anyone was safe. Moscow's police chief, James Fry, stood in front of cameras on the 16th of November and said,
"If anyone in our community or across our nation has any information about these times or the victim's whereabouts, please call our tip line at 208-883-7180. The facts of the case that we know right now. We know that these homicides occurred in the early morning hours of Sunday, November 13th. Around noon, Moscow officers received a call of an unconscious person. Officers discovered the bodies of Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogen, and Kaylee Goncalves inside the residence on King Road. The 4 were stabbed with a knife, but no weapon has been located at this time. There was no sign of forced entry into the residence. Investigators are continuing to collect evidence at the scene. Investigators are working to develop a timeline to relevant events. Autopsies are taking place today on all the victims so we can continue to gather evidence and solve the crime. Investigators are working to follow up on all leads and to identify a person of interest. Based on details at the scene, we believe this was an isolated, targeted attack on our victims. We do not have a suspect at this time, and that individual is still out there. We cannot say that there is no threat to the community, and as we have stated, please stay vigilant, report any suspicious activity, and be aware of your surroundings at all times. What we don't know, the identity and location of the suspect, the location of the knife or any clothing that was worn by the suspect. Currently, we have 25 plus investigators working this case, as well as assistance from the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Idaho State Police. We're reviewing video that has been collected, but we are asking citizens to contact us with any information you may have that will help in this investigation. We still believe it's a targeted attack, but the reality is there's still a person out there who committed 4 horrible, horrible crimes. So I think we got to go back to there is a threat out there still, possibly. We don't know. We don't believe it's going to be to anybody else, but we all have to be aware of our surroundings and make sure that we're watching out for each other.
The murders sent shockwaves through the town, and everyone was clearly afraid. Thousands of students simply left, beginning Thanksgiving break early. Professors moved classes online. Parents drove hours to collect their children, and some students relied on university security escorts to walk to class. The online community was also deeply interested in the case and wanted answers. Within days, the case had its own ecosystem. TikTok theorists, a Facebook group that would grow to roughly 225,000 members, YouTube channels running nightly coverage, self-described psychics offering readings on the victims. Behind the scenes, investigators were working hard and eliminating people as suspects. The 2 surviving housemates, Bethany and Dylan, were cleared. The friends who came to the house that morning were cleared. The private driver who took the 2 women home was cleared. The DoorDash driver was cleared. Then there was the man seen standing near Maddie and Kaylee in the food truck livestream, a friend of one of the victims, quickly christened Hoodie Guy by online sleuths, who decided he looked suspicious simply for appearing in frame and leaving around the same time as the girls. Police cleared him within about a week, citing his cooperation and DNA evidence, but it made no difference.
Hey, how's it going, sir?
Hey, how we doing?
My name is... I want to make like a statement about, I believe, the night of this Saturday.
Okay, what's going on?
I'm just friends with Maddie. I was with her at the bar that night. And I forget I don't know the person we left with, but we left to get grub truck at like 2, and we were there from like 2 to probably latest 2:30. And then she and the other lady got picked up in a silver sedan. That's my only description I know. And then they went home from there. And I just wanted to let you guys know as far as like I knew about her whereabouts. I don't know if that helps with anything, but...
I mean, yeah, anything helps. You said you were with them?
I was with Maddie at the corner club. And then they wanted to leave with Maddie and our friend. I don't recall who her friend was. I was intoxicated. But then we went to Grub Truck, and then they got picked up from Grub Truck.
Okay.
And that's as far as I knew about her whereabouts that night.
Okay. Well...
Yeah, she just got in a silver sedan.
But you don't know who it was or anything?
No, I didn't see who the driver was.
Well, I'm guessing that one of the folks that is working the case, or like a detective or something, would probably want to have a conversation with you? Is that something you're down with doing?
Yeah, I'd love to help if I can help anyway.
Amateur investigators kept building a case against him anyway, saying that he'd been kicked out of his fraternity, that he owned a knife like the murder weapon, that he'd fled the country to dodge testing, but none of it was true. He'd voluntarily given his DNA and never stopped cooperating. Jack Ducoeur, the ex-boyfriend whose phone had rung 10 times that night, was cleared too.
We do not believe the following individuals are involved in this crime. The 2 surviving roommates. A male seen at the grub truck food vendor downtown, specifically wearing a white hoodie. A private party who provided rides home to Kaylee and Madison in the early morning hour of November 13th.
Others were not so fortunate. A university professor, Rebecca Schofield, who had never met any of the victims, was accused by a TikToker of orchestrating the murders. The Texas-based tarot reader began posting videos in November 2022, claiming Rebecca Schofield had a secret relationship with a victim and arranged the killings, and kept posting until August 2025. The rumor was so persistent that it would end years later in a $10 million defamation verdict.
That frustration in part leading to a surge of internet sleuths, online communities trying to crack the case themselves. Police say it's led to misinformation they've had to spend resources dispelling.
How much does that interfere with your investigation?
I think rumors always hurt us in an investigation, but it's our job to go back and utilize our resources and to continue to vet those.
But 10,000 tips later, no arrest. Only hope from a community haunted by a killer still on the loose, and a pledge from their police chief.
We are committed to this case. We're committed to solving this case.
There was also a tip, repeated at a police press conference on the 23rd of November, that Kaylee had mentioned having a stalker. Investigators ran it down. They said they could not verify it, and no stalker ever appeared in the case that followed. It remains, to this day, unsubstantiated. Meanwhile, the real families were trying to bury their children. On the 30th of November, the university held a candlelight vigil, and more than 1,000 people attended.
I would like to start by saying my name is Stacy Chapin. I'm Ethan's mom. I'm here tonight with my husband, Jim, Ethan's dad, and his brother, Hunter, and his sister, Maisie, who are also vandals. I think you knew he was a triplet, and they all go here as well. Okay. We want to start by extending our deepest condolences to all the families impacted by this tragedy. It's hard that we are without these 4 beautiful kids with us tonight. We're here tonight because the University of Idaho is a special place for our family personally. Our triplets enrolled here together because of the small town feel, the beautiful campus, and the Greek system. Those were all mandatory must-haves when picking a school. The people here were kind and welcoming when we showed up for orientation, and we knew as a family that we'd made the right choice. The circumstances that bring us here tonight, they're terrible. The hardest part, we cannot change the outcome. And as a family, as a Chapin family, it's important that we share Ethan's legacy and talk about the impact that he made in his young 20 years or his short 20 years. So this is where we choose to focus our energy because we are now Ethan's voice. What I want you to know is that our family is no different than probably all of your families. We sat at the dinner table when time permitted. We played games together. We traveled. We hauled our kids to every sporting event imaginable. We had cribbage tournaments, pickleball competitions, and basketball shooting contests. We surfed and spent countless hours in our boat listening to country music, which was Ethan's most favorite thing in the whole world. We hiked. Typically, the kids did that reluctantly, I'll admit. We worked out. Our 3 kids even got their wisdom teeth pulled together. But the most important thing is that in our family, we always had each other's backs, and we will continue to do so. And for all of the things that I've listed and the times that I haven't mentioned, we are eternally grateful that we spent so much time with him. And I want to remind you that that's the most important message that we have for you and your families, is to make sure that you spend as much time as possible with those people, because time is precious and it's something you can't get back. It's really important. This is our message to you. It is really important that all you kids and all kids across wherever, even we've told this to our own 2 kids who are still vandals, you have to put your energy back into achieving your goals. Well, Ethan tolerated school. For those of you guys who knew him really well, he tolerated school. He loved the social life, tolerated class. He understood the importance and would want all of you to continue to focus on your futures and your ambitions. Once again, I want to thank the police, the FBI, the Idaho State Patrol for their continued efforts. We're also appreciative to everyone on site with us tonight and everyone around the nation. Please continue to support all 4 of our families, and remember, please be kind. Thank you to the university for organizing this event in honor of our loved ones. We are proud Vandals. Thank you.
And through all of it, week after week, there was no arrest, no named suspect, no murder weapon. To the public, it looked as though the investigation had stalled and was going cold, but it hadn't.
This case is not going cold. We have tips coming in. We have investigators out every day interviewing people. We're still reviewing evidence. We're still looking at all aspects of this. And I said early on that no stone will go unturned. And I mean that. We are going to continue. This case is not going cold.
From the outside, it may have seemed as though the police were slowing down, but in reality, they were deliberately limiting the information being released while they worked tirelessly behind the scenes. Because what the public didn't realize was that investigators already had some answers. They had a house with no signs of forced entry, and at the scene left behind on the bed beside Madison Mogen, they had found a knife sheath, a tan leather sheath with a snap closure, the kind that holds a military-style combat knife. On that snap was a single male DNA profile, one that matched nobody in the house. They also had the cameras. Detectives had pulled footage from every doorbell, business and traffic camera they could find for miles around. And somewhere in those hours of nighttime video, they believed they had found their killer, and he was driving a white car. Investigators' camera trawl had identified the car with multiple bizarre appearances on King Road throughout the night. The white saloon appeared near King Road at around 3:29 a.m. It passed the area of the house again and again, 4 passes in all, and then at about 4:07 a.m. came back a final time and slipped out of camera view right around the house itself. 16 minutes later, it reappeared, leaving at speed. An FBI forensic examiner who specializes in vehicle identification studied the footage and made a call. He predicted that it was a Hyundai Elantra, model years roughly 2011 to 2013. On the 25th of November, that description went out to regional law enforcement. On the 7th of December, police went public, appealing for information on a white 2011 to 2013 Elantra seen near the house.
So we have information of a white vehicle that was in the area either during the time frame of the homicide or around the time frame of the homicide. And we are just wanting to talk to the individuals who are in that vehicle. They may have some valuable information for us. And we're looking for a 2011 to a 2013 Hyundai Elantra. So any assistance you can give us, anybody that owns one, anybody that knows of someone who owns one or may have been driving one, if you could get a hold of us through our tip line or call us directly, we'd appreciate that.
The response was enormous and daunting. There were around 22,000 vehicles matching that description registered across the region, and tips flooded in about White Elantras from Oregon to who knows where. But the crucial hit had already happened before the public appeal had even taken place. On the 29th of November at Washington State University in Pullman, 8 miles away, campus police officers ran their own registration checks for White Elantras and found one registered to a graduate student living in university housing at 1630 Northeast Valley Road. The registered owner was a 28-year-old criminology PhD student named Bryan Kohberger. There were details that made investigators look twice. His car was a 2015 Elantra just outside the announced range, but actually, the FBI examiner had by then widened the plausible window to 2011 through 2016. He had registered the car in Washington State only 5 days after the murders, having previously carried Pennsylvania plates, and Pennsylvania, notably, issued only a rear plate, meaning a camera catching the front of the car in November would have seen no plate at all. His new Washington plate wouldn't come through until the 5th of December, and there was something else. Bryan Kohberger had already been stopped by police close to the town. On the 21st of August, 2022, at 11:40 p.m., a county sheriff's deputy named Darren Duke pulled over a White Elantra on the Moscow-Pullman Highway near Farm Road. Body camera footage shows a thin, dark-haired young man politely explaining himself. He was cited for not wearing a seatbelt and sent on his way.
Hey there. I stopped you going a little fast. You realize this is 35?
Oh, it's 35?
It is, yeah. So you go...
About 41?
Yeah, 43 is what the radar said.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. Do you have your license, the registration, insurance? Were you wearing your seatbelt when I stopped you? No. That's no good.
Just being honest with you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You guys are... There's absolutely no point not being honest.
Yeah.
You have a radar.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Do you have a vehicle registration slip or something like that? Okay.
Would I give you my insurance?
Yeah, this is your insurance. That's good. Thing is, I'm on a overtime shift right now. One of the conditions is we have to enforce seatbelt laws, and so to write you a citation for that, it's $10 in Idaho. Not a huge deal, but yeah. Be right back.
Just for future reference, I mean, I'm obviously an honest person, right? I told you I wasn't wearing my seatbelt. When people lie to you about that, say I lied to you about that, right?
Mhm.
Just for my own knowledge. Like, honestly, go back, look at that list.
With a seatbelt like this, I didn't check as I was coming up, so that's why I asked you.
Do you usually?
I should. I noticed you weren't wearing it, and I'm on this emphasis, and like I said, I'm getting paid by ICD, and they want us to enforce the seatbelt laws, so I was being more aware of that.
Yeah.
That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Have a good night.
Then, on the 14th of October, exactly a month before the murders, a Washington State University campus police officer pulled him over in a parking lot for running a red light. Bryan Kohberger explained that he'd been stuck in the middle of the intersection and added that he was still getting used to how crosswalks worked, being from rural Pennsylvania. The officer let him off with a warning again.
Hello, I am Officer Langus. Stops being audio and video recorded. I think you know why I stopped you. You ran the red light.
What actually happened was I was stuck in the middle of the intersection.
Yeah,
so I was forced
behind
to
you
turn
the whole
left.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So technically you're not supposed to enter the intersection at all for that reason, because if the light turns red, then you're stuck in the intersection, and then you run the red light. So that's the reason I stopped you. Do you have your license on you?
Yep. So would you explain that to me a little bit further? So in Pennsylvania, when you're stuck like in the intersection, you have to make the left. So what would the appropriate thing for me to have done?
Not-
just
You're
back up
not
in that
supposed to
situation?
block an intersection like that in Washington. So just by you blocking the intersection, that's technically a ticketable violation. And then then you're running a red light. So it's another ticketable offense. So you're not supposed to proceed into the intersection until you can go. Because a lot of people do what you just did, right? Is like you're sitting in the intersection waiting and then turns and then you're blocking. So
Yeah, there was a little bit of confusion with speeding because someone had stopped. I wasn't sure what they were doing, and then they put on their light to turn. So I thought that maybe they were letting me go through.
Oh.
Did you see that?
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah, like right before I made the turn, there was someone who like made a right, and they didn't have their, their signal on, so I wasn't sure if they were just waiting.
Yeah, so I would just advise just don't enter the intersection until you can go so you don't get stuck. Let's see.
But in that situation, the best thing to do then would be back up. And not...
I don't know if there's a best thing to do in that situation because you're either going to back up into somebody or you're going to run a red light. So, or you're going to be sitting in an intersection.
Yeah.
There's not really a great option there.
Yeah, I was just slightly into the crosswalk, so... Yeah, where I'm from Pennsylvania, we actually don't have like crosswalks.
Oh,
so even if you're kind of slightly, there's a little bit more leeway as well. Like there are a few lines. Like there's one white line and there's another one in front. Like there's like a certain margin from which you can actually kind of put your vehicle, place your vehicle.
Yeah. So I know laws vary state to state, but there is a law in Washington for blocking an intersection like that, proceeding through when you don't when you're just stalling. I forget the actual verbiage. I can find it for you, but it's like stalling, blocking an intersection.
Yeah, I'm just curious about the law. I don't mean to.
Oh no, I can
I'm
find
not,
it for you.
with
Yeah.
anything.
So I'm not writing a ticket or anything like that today. I understand you're from Pennsylvania, but in the future, don't proceed through the intersection. You can't get stopped for that alone, unless you can clearly just clear it right away.
Okay.
So,
So then basically, I understand.
you're just supposed to wait behind the white line. Drivers do it all the time. But
it never even occurred to me that was actually something wrong. But
Yeah.
well, except for the fact that I was blocking the crosswalk, which is what
yeah,
I went through.
and states vary a lot from laws. Like Pennsylvania might not even have that law, but in Washington we do.
I'm actually just from a very rural area, so we just don't have crosswalks.
Oh.
Unless I visit an area where there are
Gotcha.
crosswalks, and then it's not very frequent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do apologize if I was asking you too many questions about the law. I wasn't trying to
No, not at all. Like I understand you're not from here, so if you don't, a lot of people don't know a bunch of laws. And, like I only know it because this is what I do. But yeah, if you're ever curious on any more laws, just RCW, and they can be hard to read because it's in like legal language. But hope that helps.
Definitely.
Yeah. Have a good day.
Definitely, you too.
Thanks.
Both times, the driver was Bryan Kohberger, and both times, it was the car they were looking for. None of this, on its own, proved anything. Thousands of people drive White Elantras. What the traffic stops and the car gave investigators was something they hadn't had before, a name. And once they had a name, they could finally test it against everything else. While the car gave investigators a name, the sheath they had found on Maddie's bed gave them something better: biology. The DNA on the sheath's button snap was what forensic scientists call a single-source male profile. It was not a jumbled mixture of several people's DNA needing interpretation. It was one man clean and clear. The problem was that this one man was not in any database. CODIS came back empty. Whoever he was, he had never been arrested for anything that put his DNA on file. So investigators turned to the same technique that caught the Golden State Killer: investigative genetic genealogy, or IgG. You take the crime scene DNA profile and upload it, not to police databases, but to the kind of consumer genealogy databases where ordinary people research their family trees. You look for partial matches, relatives, and then you build family trees, working back through generations and forwards again. narrowing branch by branch towards someone who fits. Right age, right sex, right geography. On the 22nd of November, a sample went to Othram, a Texas laboratory that specializes in this work. Their early returns were thin. The closest relative match shared just 70.7 centimorgans of DNA. Genetically speaking, roughly the distance of a great-great-grandparent, a very distant cousin indeed. In early December, the FBI took the genealogy work in-house and, according to later reporting and court filings, uploaded the profile to databases including GEDmatch and MyHeritage, including records of users who had never opted in to law enforcement matching. That decision sat uneasily alongside interim federal policy, and it would become one of the defense's loudest complaints. The FBI's tree building soon found a far closer relative, and the branches began converging on a single family in Monroe County, Pennsylvania. A family whose 28-year-old son drove a White Elantra and studied criminology 8 miles from Moscow. Now investigators needed to connect that family's biology to the sheath without tipping anyone off. In the last week of December, with Bryan Kohberger home for the holidays, agents went through the family's bins. The rubbish was flown to the Idaho State Police Laboratory, and on the 28th of December, the lab reported a result. They concluded that a male DNA profile recovered from the trash was, quote, not being excluded as the biological father of the man whose DNA was on the sheath. The lab put a number on it. At least 99.9998% of the male population would be expected to be excluded from the possibility of being that man's father. In plain English, the DNA on the knife sheath next to Maddie Mogen's body belonged, to a near certainty, to a son of the man whose rubbish they had just tested. And Michael Kohberger only had one son among 3 children, Bryan Kohberger. The third pillar of the case was Bryan Kohberger's own phone. Investigators obtained records for his number on the 23rd of December. What they got back was cell site location information. Your phone constantly talks to nearby towers, and each tower serves sectors covering an area. Records of which sector your phone used can place you in a zone, sometimes a big one. What Bryan Kohberger's phone records showed for the night of 12th to the 13th of November was damning. At 2:42 a.m., the phone was using resources consistent with his apartment in Pullman. At about 2:47 a.m., it connected in a way consistent with heading south through Pullman. And then, for 2 hours and 1 minute, nothing. From roughly 2:47 a.m. until 4:48 a.m., the phone simply stopped reporting to the network. This wasn't a dead battery, and it wasn't random. Digital forensics experts who examined the device found the shutdown had been triggered manually, a human pressing a button, and that the phone was sitting at a full 100% charge when it happened. What they can say is that this silence covered, precisely, the window in which a White Elantra was circling King Road and 4 people were murdered. At 4:48 a.m., the phone woke up, connecting near Blaine, Idaho, a dot on the map south of Moscow, consistent with someone looping back towards Pullman on rural roads rather than the direct highway. By around 5:30 a.m., phone and car were back in the area of his apartment. According to a digital forensics review of Bryan's devices, he called his mother Marianne at 6:13 a.m., shortly after getting back to his Pullman apartment. She did not answer, and he immediately called his father, texting, "Father, why did Mother not respond? Why is she not answering the phone?" His parents were saved in his phone simply as Mother and Father. When his mother called back, they spoke for around 36 minutes. A second call followed at 8:03 a.m., lasting around 54 minutes, timed to overlap almost exactly with his drive back toward King Road at around 9 a.m. 2 further calls to his mother came that afternoon at 4:05 p.m. and 5:53 p.m., the second one running for 96 minutes. Altogether, the review found Bryan Kohberger spent close to 3 hours on the phone with his mother on the day of the murders. The officer who wrote the affidavit, Corporal Brett Payne, said, "Based on my training and experience, and the facts of the investigation thus far, I believe that Kohberger the user of the 8,458 phone was likely the driver of the White Elantra that is observed departing Pullman, and that this vehicle is likely suspect vehicle 1. Then, at around 9:12 that same morning, hours before the 911 call, the phone travelled from Pullman back to Moscow and spent roughly 9 minutes connected to the tower sector covering the area of 1122 King Road. Then it went home. When analysts looked backwards through the historical records, they found the phone had connected to that same sector, the one covering the King Road area, at least 12 times between late June and mid-November 2022. All 12, the affidavit notes, in the late evening or early morning hours. Those visits had a pattern to them, and after the 13th of November, that pattern simply ended. The trips to Moscow, the late-night loops through that sector, all of it stopped. Then, at around 10:30 on the 13th of November, Bryan Kohberger took a photograph of himself in his bathroom mirror, which was recovered from his phone. The photo shows him freshly showered, wearing a white shirt and earbuds, smiling, giving the camera a thumbs up. Digital forensics experts looked deeper and discovered much more. What they found was a phone that looked almost nothing like a normal 20-something's. He'd been careful, but not careful enough. On the 29th of December, with the New York Times having just published a piece about the search for a White Elantra, Bryan Kohberger's browsing turned frantic. He searched for an auto detailing shop, then began looking at used cars, a Ford Fusion, a Volkswagen Jetta, a Honda Civic. That same day, his search history filled with the terms psychopaths paranoid, wiretapping, and serial killers, and he downloaded information on a serial killer named Wayne Nance. So who exactly was this 27-year-old postgraduate student, calling his mother for 3 hours, disappearing into incognito browsers, and driving roads that suggest he already knew exactly where he was going? Bryan Christopher Kohberger was born on the 21st of November 1994 and grew up in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, a small community in the Pocono Mountains. His father Michael worked in maintenance, and his mother Marianne worked in the local school system. He had 2 older sisters, and neighbors remembered a polite family. By his own teenage account, Bryan struggled. Between 2009 and 2012, posts he is reported to have written on an online forum described depression, a dissociative feeling he called visual snow, and worse. In one post at 16, he wrote, "I have no emotion, crazy thoughts, delusions of grandeur. I can do whatever I want with little remorse. I might spiral out of control." At Pleasant Valley High School, he was, by classmates' on-record accounts, overweight, bullied, and then dramatically changed. He lost a large amount of weight, took up boxing, and became, in the words of some who knew him, intense and abrasive. At Pleasant Valley, he enrolled in a law enforcement class at the Monroe Career and Technical Institute, and his 2011 yearbook shows him training in uniform, the caption noting his ambition to one day join the Army Rangers, but he didn't get there. He was removed from that same law enforcement program in his sophomore year after a complaint was made about him. By 19, he was in the grip of a heroin addiction, and his family had sent him to rehab. On the 8th of February 2014, not long after coming home, he stole his sister's iPhone, paid a friend $20 for a ride to the mall, and sold it for $200 at an electronics kiosk. When his father confronted him, Bryan warned him not to do anything stupid. Michael called the police on his own son anyway. Bryan was charged with misdemeanor theft. The record was later expunged after he completed a program for first-time offenders, and he served no jail time. He would eventually get clean for good. Then he rebuilt himself through education, and the subject he chose was crime. An associate degree in psychology at Northampton Community College in 2018. Then a psychology degree at DeSales University in 2020, followed by a master's in criminal justice there in 2022, where he studied under Dr. Catherine Ramsland, one of America's best-known forensic psychologists and an authority on serial offenders. As part of his studies, he posted an online research survey inviting people who had committed crimes to describe, in his wording, their thoughts and feelings before, during, and after the offense. In the summer of 2022, he drove west to start the next chapter, a fully funded PhD in criminology at Washington State University in Pullman, with a teaching assistant post in the Criminal Justice Department. He moved into a university flat at 1630 Northeast Valley Road. About 8 miles down the highway over the state line was Moscow, Idaho. But his single semester at Washington State University did not go well. University records showed a pattern of complaints about his conduct as a teaching assistant. These included a documented altercation with a professor in the autumn, an improvement plan, and meetings about his behavior, including, less than 2 weeks before the murders, a meeting to address concerns about his interactions with female students. On the 19th of December 2022, Washington State University terminated his assistantship. Peers described a habit of over-explaining things, especially to female classmates, in a tone several found condescending. One divorced classmate said he told her he wouldn't date a broken woman. A deaf student said he'd asked whether she'd be comfortable procreating given her disability. A 19-year-old undergraduate said that after she turned down a date, he began physically cornering her so often that she grew nervous walking home alone, particularly once she learned he lived nearby. Others described him staring, standing too close, and leaning over women in ways that made them uncomfortable, and making remarks a staff member later characterized as homophobic, ableist, xenophobic, and misogynistic. Some of this is now the subject of a civil lawsuit, which alleges Washington State University received at least 13 formal reports about his behavior. At some point during his time at Washington State University, Bryan Kohberger matched with a woman on Tinder. Their contact barely lasted a day. She said he'd asked her what she thought was the worst way to die. When she said being stabbed, he pressed her, wanting to know exactly what kind of knife she meant. She said it gave her the creeps, and she stopped responding. None of this was ever tied to any specific online community, and there's no evidence he posted on incel forums under his own name. But the pattern struck plenty of people the same way. A fellow grad said that Bryan Kohberger once idly remarked he could go down to a bar or a club and pretty much have any lady I want, and classmates described someone who, when a woman wasn't interested, simply didn't accept it. Roughly a month after the murders, in mid-December 2022, with the semester over, and though he did not know it, a family tree quietly closing around him, Bryan Kohberger left Pullman and drove home to Pennsylvania for the holidays. His father Michael had flown out to make the 2,500-mile drive with him, a trip they had planned for months. They drove the White Elantra. On the 15th of December, on Interstate 70 in Hancock County, Indiana, the Elantra was stopped twice by 2 different agencies within about 9 minutes. At 10:41 a.m. local time, a Hancock County Sheriff's deputy pulled them over for following another vehicle too closely. Body camera footage shows a calm, chatty exchange, Bryan in the driver's seat, his father beside him.
Hello, how you doing? How y'all doing? Good, good. Take your driver's license real quick if I could. See, he's right up on the van, man. He's right up on the back of that van. Over for tailgating. Is this your car? Okay, cool. Where you headed?
That's what I do. Well, we're coming from WSU, and we're staying early.
What's WSU?
Yeah, university basically. It's the best area that it's a better SWAT team area.
So I'm having a hard time reading because of the traffic. So you're coming from Washington State University, and you're going there?
Oh, we're going to be going today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we're slightly mentioning this right hours.
Hours, days.
Hours. Right. Well, almost.
Okay. And what did you say about some SWAT team thing? Or
there was some mass shooting and everything.
Where?
I said the county there was something on our
Interesting.
Well, it's horrifying. He's going to university, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So y'all work at the university there? Or?
Actually, being very.
Oh.
He went his PhD from the.
Okay. Okay. I hadn't heard about that incident. Just today, or?
This happened about an hour and a half ago. They're still wrapping up for investigating. I'm not sure there's two shoes. If they shoot study,
I see.
then you can don't know about that.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. Well, do me a favor and don't follow too close, okay? All right. Thank you. Appreciate you.
The deputy let them off with a warning. 9 minutes later, and a few miles on, an Indiana State Police trooper stopped the same car for the same thing. They received another warning.
How you doing? Sir. Trooper Walton State Police, got your license registration with you. I realized, Dr. Man, when you were driving by me there, you're a little too close to the back of that semi. You about one car between you and the back of this trailer. We're about one car, you're 10 miles an hour, so going 60 or 70 miles an hour. About 6 or 7 cars, you that'd be. Yeah. Okay. All right, well, hey, peace out, etc. Thanks, sir.
When that footage surfaced weeks later, the timing looked so extraordinary that many assumed the FBI had arranged the stops to get a look inside the car or to capture Bryan's face on camera. But the FBI denied it, and both Indiana agencies described the stops as routine coincidence. The Kohbergers reached Monroe County, Pennsylvania, and family life resumed. Christmas came and went. What Bryan did not know was that by the 27th of December, FBI surveillance teams were watching the house on Lambsden Drive. Over those days, they watched him do curious things, going outside in surgical-style gloves and depositing rubbish bags at 4 a.m. into a neighbor's bins rather than his own. It was from that household rubbish, retrieved and flown to the Idaho State Police Lab, that scientists produced the father-son DNA result on the 28th of December. And finally, on the 29th of December, with all the evidence they now had, a judge in Idaho signed arrest warrants. At around 1:30 in the morning, on Friday the 30th of December 2022, Pennsylvania State Police Special Emergency Response Team officers and FBI agents hit the house at 119 Lambsden Drive, Chestnut Hill Township. On arrival, they found the family asleep upstairs, and Bryan awake in the kitchen, in gloves, sorting rubbish into Ziploc bags. He was taken without a struggle. That morning, Moscow Police Chief James Fry and Latta County Prosecutor Bill Thompson stepped in front of cameras 2,500 miles away and told the world there had been an arrest.
Last night, in conjunction with the Pennsylvania State Police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, detectives arrested 28-year-old Bryan Christopher Kohberger in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, on a warrant for murders of Ethan, Xana, Madison, and Kaylee. I want to personally thank these agencies for their assistance in this case. Kohberger resides in Pullman, Washington, and is a graduate student at Washington State University. We will provide as much information as we can about the extradition to Idaho and the criminal process. However, due to Idaho state law, we are limited in what information we can release today until Kohberger has his initial appearance in Idaho court. I want to express my appreciation to our local community, the people of Idaho, and those throughout our nation who provided information to help us investigate these murders has been very impressive. We've received over 19,000 tips, and we've conducted over 300 interviews. We do believe justice will be found through the criminal process. This was a very complex and extensive case. We developed a clear picture over time, and we stand assured that the work is not done, but be assured the work is not done. This has just started. Since November, we have remained laser focused on pursuing every lead in our pursuit of justice for the victims and their families. I recognize the frustration with the lack of information that's been released. However, providing any details in this criminal investigation might have tainted the upcoming criminal prosecution or alerted the suspect of our progress. We will continue to provide as much information as we can as the process moves forward. Over the past 6 weeks, I've been continually reminded of how much our community cares. Locally, public support has been exceptional with kind words, food for investigators, and letters of support. You will never know how much your words of encouragement help us through these trying times. I appreciate each of you and each of your kindness. Agencies and individuals from across the nation have reached out to us to express their support to this department. I'm reminded how our Moscow community, our families, and the nation has been impacted by this daily. Finally, I do want to thank our media partners for the help. You kept this in the news, you helped us with tips, you kept things going, and we truly appreciate that. And you are the product of those 19,000 tips that we received, which is an impressive number.
A 28-year-old Washington State University criminology PhD student named Bryan Kohberger, charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of felony burglary. At the family home, searchers recovered, among other things, a knife, a Glock pistol, a black face mask, black glove, a Smith & Wesson pocket knife, 3 empty magazines, and a black hat. The same day, in Pullman, officers executed warrants on Bryan Kohberger's apartment and his office in the Criminal Justice Building and seized the White Elantra. Bryan Kohberger spent New Year's Eve in the Monroe County Correctional Facility. His court-appointed Pennsylvania lawyer, Chief Public Defender Jason Labar, issued a statement saying his client believed he would be exonerated and urging the public to remember the presumption of innocence. He said, "Mr. Kohberger has been accused of very serious crimes, but the American justice system cloaks him in a veil of innocence. He should be presumed innocent until proven otherwise." On the 3rd of January 2023, at a brief hearing in Stroudsburg, Bryan waived extradition. Chained at the waist, in a red jail jumpsuit, he answered the judge's questions in a flat, formal voice. It was the world's first proper look at him.
Come on.
Bryan, did you do it?
Where you going?
Bryan, did you do
How's
it?
it going, Bryan?
Bryan, did you do it? Bryan, did you do it?
Last time you can't believe it, Bryan.
The next day, 2 Idaho State Police detectives and a plane took him west. Cameras caught the aircraft landing at the Pullman Moscow airport in the winter dark at 6:20 p.m. and a convoy carrying him the last few miles into Moscow to the county jail.
Okay, these are live pictures. Looks like law enforcement stepping up, walking up to the plane now. You can see there. We know it's nighttime. It's going to be hard to see. Bear with us here. Okay, you can see there Bryan Kohberger in that orange jumpsuit walking with law enforcement, being escorted into that vehicle on the tarmac. He is now in the state of Idaho to face these charges against him. And it is alleged that he committed those 4 slayings on the campus of the University of Idaho. Those 4 students stabbed to death in their sleep the night of November the 13th. It's now, January the 4th? And this still will all unfold and continue.
After the arrest, investigators finally had what they hadn't had before: Bryan Kohberger's own DNA, taken directly from him via a cheek swab, to test against the profile recovered from the Knife Sheath snap, the same profile that back in November had pointed only to his father through trash pulled from the family home. This time, it was a direct 1-to-1 comparison, using an STR test, the standard court-tested method of DNA matching used in criminal trials. The state's filing put the result like this. The profile was at least 5.37 octillion times more likely to be seen if Bryan Kohberger was the source than if a random unrelated member of the public was. On the afternoon of the 5th of January, 2023, minutes before Bryan Kohberger's first Idaho court appearance, the probable cause affidavit was unsealed, and for the first time, the public could see the case. It was 19 pages, written by Moscow Police Corporal Brett Payne.
All right. Court documents unsealed Thursday reveal new details which investigators say tied their suspect Bryan Kohberger to the scene where 4 students were murdered on November 13th. In court, the judge formally reading his charges and denying bail.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Following the charges, investigators still had no confession, no murder weapon, no fingerprints, and no known connection between Kohberger and anyone in the house. So, to secure a conviction, they needed to find further evidence linking him to the murders. Bryan Kohberger's apartment was searched on the 30th of December. The inventory listed possible hair and animal strands, a computer tower, a vacuum cleaner's dust container, a dark red spot on the kitchen counter, mattress covers with stains, receipts, gloves.
From a computer tower to possible hair strands, we now know what police uncovered from University of Idaho murder suspect Bryan Kohberger's apartment the day he was arrested.
A newly unsealed search warrant also reveals that investigators took cuttings from a pillow that had what they described in court documents as reddish-brown stains.
In the search warrant, police say there was a lot of blood in the home where the 4 University of Idaho students were killed. They think some of that blood could have gotten on Kohberger's clothes and shoes. Investigators also say Kohberger could have brought hair from the victims or their dog back to his apartment inadvertently. From Kohberger's home, police found 8 possible hair strands, another possible strand of animal hair, and cuttings from a pillowcase that had reddish-brown stains. The search warrant tells us police were looking at Kohberger's shoes. A footprint with a diamond tread was found at the murder scene. However, shoes were not listed on items taken from his apartment. Also in that list was a Fire TV stick with a cord and plug and a computer tower. Some of those items could have data that would shed light on a motive. Detectives can look at the computer search history or search for the pictures of the victims, the home on King Road, and the surrounding neighborhood.
Despite speculation, nothing from that flat was ever publicly reported as containing the victim's DNA. The same for his office at Washington State University. The White Elantra was processed by forensic teams. The car was described as spotless, even in places used cars essentially never are, including the interior side door compartments. Investigators believed Bryan had meticulously cleaned it. The knife was never found. Not in Pennsylvania, not in Washington, not in the rivers, fields and ponds between Moscow and Pullman that searchers combed. The digital searches took longer. Warrants went to AT&T, Google, Apple and Amazon. In March 2022, 8 months before the murders and while still living in Pennsylvania, Bryan's Amazon account had purchased a K-bar knife together with a sheath and a sharpener. There were also the claims that surfaced through a leak. In May 2025, an NBC Dateline episode aired material, including what it said were Bryan's internet searches, references to Ted Bundy, and pornography searches, including the terms sleeping and drugged. Investigators then turned their attention back to security cameras, meticulously working through the footage, and hours after the murders, they found him. Surveillance cameras placed him at a Costco in Clarkston, Washington, turned away at the entrance by a greeter for not having a membership card. He didn't argue. He got back into the White Elantra and drove to a nearby Albertsons instead, where footage shows him browsing calmly and paying at a self-checkout, one hand kept in his pocket throughout, the other still swiping his own credit card. There was also a stop at the DMV. 5 days after the murders, on the 18th of November, cameras caught him walking into a Washington State licensing office, telling the staff member, "I definitely need to get my license plate changed." He chatted with her whilst visibly wearing gloves, and at one point mentioned that he was hopefully going to see family soon. That visit is what got him his new Washington plates that would finally sit on both the front and back of the car. It wasn't the only footage they pulled. Investigators traced the White Elantra across more than a dozen cameras through Moscow and Pullman, a residential camera on Indian Hills Drive, a gas station camera half a mile from the King Road house, cameras tracking it back into Pullman. Records also showed he'd been a regular at a Walmart in Pullman for weeks already, making more than a dozen trips in just the few months before the murders. But something changes overnight. The night of November 12th, he checks out barehanded at 10:34 p.m., hours before the murders, and then every visit after that, he's in gloves. And yet, for everything they compiled, the DNA, the phone, the car, the footage, the receipts, one thing never surfaced. Investigators never found a connection between Bryan Kohberger and the 4 victims. No shared friends, no messages, no prior encounter anyone could point to. They could place him at the house. They could place him in the weeks and hours around it. But why he chose that house and those 4 people was a question the evidence never answered. What came next was a legal battle that would run for 2.5 years. He would stand in court and say nothing, refusing to enter a plea at all, leaving the judge to enter one for him. He would fight to have the evidence thrown out, fight to keep the cameras out of the courtroom, fight all the way to the edge of a trial that could have ended in his execution. And then, at the last possible moment, he would do the one thing almost nobody expected. Next time on True Crime with Elli Mack.
Did you, on November 13th, 2022, enter the residence at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho, with the intent to commit the felony crime of murder?
Yes.
Thanks so much for listening to True Crime with Elli Mack, with me, Elli Mack. And a special thanks to our members who you see on screen now. Your support means so much and really helps keep the channel going. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. And if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else, a rating and a follow really help the show grow. See you next time.